Happy New Year. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition, episode number 85 of the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast, Mechanical Breakdown Series, Volume 22. I almost forgot because we had a week off last week. We did Carlos Correa 2 weeks ago, and today we're doing Kyle Schwarber. And by we, I mean myself and professional evaluator, successful business owner, former coach, friend, and co-host who got everything he needed to get done last week. And he's back, baby, with a vengeance. New
Ready to
year,
go.
new year, not new me. Same douchey Jim, podcast host.
Val, let's rock and roll, man. This will be a fun topic with Schwarber. I think it kind of some of the stuff as we dug into it surprised both of us, which is always kind of fun. You know, you have these thoughts on certain players, but you know, without the research and facts to back it up, right? It's just an opinion. So it'll be kind of cool to go through all this stuff.
And I'm looking at my phone for those watching on the YouTube side. I just want to confirm it is indeed volume 22. Correa was.
I'm glad. I'm sure somebody would have really busted us on that one.
Correa was volume 21 from a couple of weeks ago. Hey, do you know what? I got to just get this off my chest. I saw something when I woke up this morning. The internet is something, right? I'm on Instagram, just kind of scrolling through, and there's this account that I follow. It's called Hardcore Comedy 2.0. For those who don't, I mean, maybe your kids might follow it. And there was a video of a girl and a guy side by side. This disgusted me, and I lost my appetite for it because I woke up. I'm like, good breakfast this morning. And the girl, you're not going to believe this. They were going to do a race. Who can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich quicker and then eat it as quick as they can. And the winner, I don't know, whatever, but the winner finishes everything, gets the peanut butter and jelly sandwich finished, made, and eaten. Well, this girl, as soon as I don't think they were in the same room, but as soon as, maybe they were, but as soon as it was go, the girl spit out the jelly from her mouth onto the bread, threw peanut butter on the other piece of bread, put them together, and then stuffed her face. It was the most disgusting thing I've seen in 2022, maybe in 2021. It was disgusting. And I tell you, it might have been on TikTok. I'll tell you, keep your kids off TikTok. Not just my co-host. I'm talking about everybody. Keep your kids off that shit.
Yeah, social media is awful.
Forget hitting Twitter. Forget hitting social media.
Anyone.
Just keep your kids off everything.
Everything. Good luck with that, but you know, it's probably the right choice.
You and I should do that type of challenge. I won't put jelly in my mouth. I won't. She literally, for those watching on the YouTube side, it's better. This is a visual. She had the jelly and she went. You couldn't tell she had it either. It was like when my sister would put like food underneath her tongue when she was a kid because she didn't want to eat it, and then she'd spit it out in the toilet later. This girl, she went and just spit it out. It was disgusting. It was the most disgusting thing I've seen. Really threw off my mornings. I couldn't have breakfast because I was just so grossed out.
Well, thanks for sharing it with everyone.
No problem. I wanted everybody else's breakfast on a Monday morning to be ruined. Mazel tov.
Yeah, much appreciated.
All right. Well, we're talking Kyle Schwarber here today. Mechanical Breakdown Series, Volume 22, as we continue on with our free agents. Baseball is still in lockout. And Kyle Schwarber is a free agent, and he's listed, what's interesting to me, on Baseball Reference and on Baseball Savant. He's actually listed as a left fielder. Remember, he came up kind of as a catcher, super utility type guy, but he settled into left field. And you and I were talking off air about some of his numbers, and we'll get into and dissect some of those figures that he put up in 2021 and before that. But some of the numbers, and I went into this thinking, hey, Kyle Schwarber had one good half. That was in second half of 2021. And he was hurt a big chunk of the first half when he was with the Nationals. But I looked at some of the numbers, the power numbers, isolated power, doubles, and those are some pretty good numbers that he's had in his career. And remember, too, before I let you make your point, the Cubs were paying him $7 million in 2021, non-tendered him after that season. So it might have been a money issue as well. So there was some blurred lines and some misconceptions on my part when it came to Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he's definitely a defensive liability. He's not a defensive guy, but that's not what you're paying him for. So I think if he finds a spot, we don't really know what the DH is going to be like next year. maybe it'll be league wide, but if he finds a spot in the American League, I think that's a little bit easier. But yeah, no, going through his stats, if you go back to 2017, which is, I guess not his rookie season, right? But, his first main season, he got himself, almost 500 at bats. He hit 30 home runs. The next year, very similar. He got, 500 and a little more, 500 and something at bats, and he hit 26 home runs. And then the next year in 19, he got 600 at bats and he hit 38 home runs. So those are 3 really consistent years in a row. And then obviously we went to, the COVID season of 2020, and he may have fallen off a little bit there, but really not that much. And then boom, last year, he gets hot and he's pretty consistent again with almost 5. He was still hurt. He seems to get hurt, but he doesn't seem to lose a full season, because he had 470 at bats last year and still hit 32 home runs. I think he hit 12 home runs in 10 days or something crazy like that, right? He got super hot, the second half, but pretty darn consistent. Probably my favorite trend that you're seeing is his batting average is really starting to go up each year. Right. And that's kind of what you're seeing. He was his first year that I talked about where he still hit 30 home runs. He hit 211, then he hit 238, 250. COVID was 188, and then last year, he ended up at 266. And you can see that with his mechanical changes through time, because he really covers. He definitely made an adjustment to get on top of pitches, or at least hit high pitches. He swung at a lot of high pitches last year. He had a lot of home runs on really high pitches. I remember even in the playoffs last year, he got the pitches at the top of the strike zone. So we'll kind of talk about that process when we go through a bunch of his swings, because we have kind of like a highlight reel of different pitches that he hits. But I think he's maturing as a hitter for sure. I think he's got a great approach. I think he's got a great plan. I think he has adjustability with his plan, maybe not within the swing, or maybe within the swing, but from at bat to at bat, and what he's trying to do. And that, more than anything else, with players as they get older, makes them great. It makes them hit pitches that they shouldn't hit, which we'll see. I mean, there's pitches up in his letters that a left-hand hitter, a 98-mile-an-hour fastball up there, a left-hand hitter is not supposed to even come close to. And he's able to ride a couple of those out of the park. So I think he's done a really nice job over the past few years, because when he first started, he was a big dumper, barrel dump and lift. And that was kind of the game, right? 2015, 16, 17. And then all of a sudden we started to see pitchers, throw maybe a little bit harder, top of the strike zone. And he has adjusted very, very nicely with that change in pitching. And I will say not every hitter has done that.
So a couple of other numbers I want to bring up. Max exit velocity. We talk about that on this show, but at least me, I don't put much stock into exit velocity. We've kind of just established there's a certain number that you should hit to play in the big leagues and to be successful. And beyond that, it's right. I mean, it's sort of okay.
Yeah. If your max exit is 108 versus 118, like,
who cares, right?
Yeah. Not crucial. If your max velocity is 90, then you're probably not getting to the big league. So,
right.
Once you're there, you're kind of there.
Well, that brings up a question too. What about average velocity?
Well, that's how many barrels you find too, right? So that would be a little bit more, if your average, is 10% of your max, if your max is say, 120, well, we'll say 110, right? And then your average is 99, right? Yeah. That's pretty good, right? That's 10%. So, that means you're finding some barrels, and I think that's really important versus, just having the ability to hit the ball really hard, but not really having the ability to make adjustments to pitches or to have a plan or approach, to get to those certain pitches, each game. So, max velocity is cool. It's like, yeah, look at me. It's like a bench press, right? Look at me. I just benched 300 pounds. I feel good. Like I'm, whatever. But in all likelihood, if you're, in the big leagues, then, you're probably hitting the ball hard enough, especially if you're an outfielder like that can hit home runs. I just had the college players in Texas last week. And so, we make a big deal about it, right? Because I have like 2 high school kids that were there trying to compete with the college kids, and they do, like, they want to hit that number. Where the college players are like, great. Like Shomo came in and broke the softball record and hit 181 something miles an hour, which was faster than Hemphill, right? And she was like, oh, cool. Like, she didn't care. Like, that wasn't her. But, for a high school kid to, bust up that leaderboard, man, it is like, super exciting for them, with that max. And I think that's kind of how, baseball players are too. Like, they want consistency. In the same breath, Sawyer Feller was there, who goes to Harvard, and he hits at I think it's Cressy's place in Florida. He's from South Florida, and so he hit with now I can't remember the guy's name. He's played with the Marlins. He might still play with I don't know. He plays in Japan now. Huge guy, left-handed hitter. Kind of reminds me of a big Schwarber, like maybe 3 inches bigger than Justin Bohr or Bauer. Wow. Yeah, so it's him. And he swings like a 36-inch bat or something like that, Sawyer was saying. And every ball he hits off the hit tracks is like 115 miles an hour, 110 to 115, just in like front toss. Because he's a massive human being. And that's what people don't realize, how big and strong. Like, Schwarber is put together, man. That guy is a brick. Like, he's like a linebacker. I don't know how tall he is, maybe 6 foot or.
He's actually, I think, right at 6 foot. So basically what you're saying is max exit velocity or exit velocity in general should go with, there should be more context to it. It should go with how many barrels you produce, correct? A barrel absolutely. Percentage you produce, even though you shouldn't put too much context. You shouldn't really put too much weight into that statistic.
So we would lower it. Like when I was at Mizzou, we'd play games, when the weather was not great, the first month of the season, we were indoors and we had to hit tracks and we had the machine cranked up. But, if you could, they knew that what pitch was coming. It was either a fastball or a breaking ball, right? But if they could hit it 90, we use that as a benchmark. Like, you found a barrel. If a college player hits the ball above 90, they probably hit it decent, on a decent trajectory. So we'd allow that, meaning they didn't roll over it. They didn't pop it up. So we would let them stand, but we had players that couldn't hit 90, like there's some fast little guys that just, it doesn't mean that they're worse than anyone else. It's just their role. And max velocity is really, really cool. We know who has the hardest hit balls every year, right? It's the guys that are built like, Greek gods, right? That are chiseled out of stone. Those guys hit the ball harder because they're bigger and stronger and they move the bat faster, but it doesn't mean they're always the best hitters in the league.
Right. They're built well. They should have an OnlyFans account. So for Schwarber, the max exit velocity, the last 5 years has been in the top 5 in the league. Last year, his max exit velocity, his overall exit velocity, in case people care, 92.3. His max exit velocity, 116.6. Here's what the statistic, though, that I like. And he has been talked about as a guy who strikes out a lot. But last season, his strikeout percentage, 27%. He was in the top 5, though, in the league. And this is on Baseball Savant. It's red, so I'm assuming that it's. See, they had that little note at the bottom in like one font that says, top 3 or top 5 in the league. The walk percentage for Schwarber last year between 2 teams. I'm sorry, the red means top 1% in the league. So, okay, I get it now. All right. So his walk percentage, 13.6 last year. That was top 6% of the league, highest, tops in the top 6. He was in the top 6 in that category. So was that an approach thing? What can you decipher through that number?
Could definitely be an approach thing. Could be a maturity thing.
Yeah.
Could be, kind of understanding what players are trying to do. The best players in the world can abort swings. They can tunnel a pitch in a certain area. If he's looking up and he's looking for a pitch, maybe he's looking for a fastball because that's his plan for the day or the at bat. He's looking for something at the belt and hard, and somebody throws him a changeup that maybe starts outside of that window, kind of down, right? It starts off, lower than what his tunnel is. Players that have the ability to just shut down the swing early, 8 feet out of the hand. Oh, that's not, they may not know it's a changeup yet, but they know it's in a different tunnel. They know it's going to end up in a different quadrant of the strike zone, and they can lay off of it. And all of a sudden, maybe that pitch is borderline and it's a ball, and now the count's 1-0 instead of 0-1 if he would have chased it. So sometimes your plan and your approach can really help you, lay off questionable pitches and get fooled a little less. I mean, we're still going to get fooled. Pitches are good, and they're trying to tunnel every pitch, out of the the same 10 feet, first 10 feet, regardless of what it is. But that's really hard to do with some players, or with some pitchers. I mean, that's a hard thing to do, is to throw pitches all out of the same, couple inch window and arm slot. So that could be, what he's looking for. Or, sometimes players that walk a lot too, they foul a lot of balls off. Sometimes they don't pull, so walking a lot is, that could be good if they're just pitching around you, but sometimes players don't walk a lot because they put a lot of balls in play, and so they don't get to 2 strikes all the time. They put the ball in play. They see 2 or 3 pitches in a bat, whether good or bad, maybe that's good for them. So again, it's like everything else. I mean, walks, that's a good number to see because he's getting on base, right? It's going to raise his on base percentage. He has never driven in 100 runs, I don't think, if you look in there. So I thought that was kind of an interesting number, maybe see, I don't know what his numbers are with runners in scoring position. I know he did hit leadoff some last year, so I don't know if that played something into it, but that would be interesting to see. Maybe he hasn't had the supporting cast, but I think he has. He's had good players around him, but maybe he hits in front of them, right? Maybe they drive him in based on the number of runs. So yeah, I think every player, I think when they get older, they get wiser. And as they get wiser, they should walk a little bit more, just because they have a plan and a proper approach each and every day they go out on the field.
I'm trying to find the runners.
What are you trying to find? This is dead time.
Yeah.
We just lost listeners right there because it got dead.
You know what? No, that's actually, that rule has proven to be a farce.
Oh, it is. Okay. Anyway, never had 100 RBIs.
Well, I'm
going through here.
I can't find his runners in scoring position. It's bothering me.
Yeah.
Damn. Trying to back up your point. You brought up a fastball in there, though. You ready for this stat? You'll like this one. Last year, highest of his career, his batting average against the fastball, 307. Hit the fastball. You hear that a lot from coaches and scouts
in the minor leagues.
You, me. Yeah. Got to hit the fastball. If you can't hit the fastball and you miss the fastball consistently, then you're not going to make it very far.
Not in pro ball. I remember that was the first thing I wish I remember his name. Our roving hitting instructor was in town my first year of pro ball, and he said something like, how many of you guys are breaking ball hitters, like to hit breaking balls? And I think I was the only one, but I raised my hand because that's all I got in college, right? When you're 6'5" and 230, like you get breaking balls. So I just looked for them all the time, even with or even with less than 2 strikes. I'd look for breaking balls, and I'd get more hangers, with an 0-0 count or a 1-0 count than I would get a good fastball, right? So he said, well, son, if you can't hit the fastball, you ain't going to last very long. And I said, I never said I couldn't hit the fastball.
You said that back to him.
I did, yeah.
Wow.
He just laughed. He says, okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
But he was right. That was the big thing. Like, you got to be able to hit velocity at that level. And that's what they say. And quite honestly, in Major League Baseball, you have, my dad used to say this, gosh, all the time when I was growing up. The hardest pitches to hit are the hardest pitches to throw. Okay, so like think of a split fingered fastball, right? That was really hard to hit, really hard to throw. That's hard. Sliders are hard to hit, and they're kind of hard to throw for strikes. Otherwise people would just throw. Well, Ottavino does, I guess, but I mean some guys just throw slider after slider after slider after slider, and they're successful with it, right? So if you can't hit the fastball, the one straight pitch, because you're going to get them, right? Every game you're going to get a few of them for strikes. If you can't get to them, then you're definitely going to be in trouble. But I also think he became a better fastball hitter based on his approach. Now, dating or going back to Chris Bryant, right, who was his teammate, what did Bryant do? We talked about him trying to get on top of pitches, right? Working a lot of high fastballs in the offseason last year, so that he could flatten out his swing a little bit. Maybe Schwarber kind of took note from that, or vice versa. Maybe, Schwarber started it and Bryant, said that's a really good idea. But you could definitely see Schwarber, gets really flat or tries to get really flat on high pitches. And I think it really helped him last year, both for fastballs and just, like I said, his average was, 15 points higher, 16 points higher or more. And he ran into a lot of barrels. He pulled a lot of home runs. He hit a lot of home runs in the opposite field. That's usually means your swing plane's in a good spot. A lot of times guys will hit a lot of home runs in the opposite field because they're big and strong, and he's big and strong, but they hook a lot of balls to the pull side because they're, dropping their barrel to hit a ball out the other way. And he really doesn't have those moves as much as most players. So pretty talented swing, actually. I like it. And I like him. I mean, I'll shut up after this, but that whole deal when he was with the Red Sox and they put him at first base and he hadn't played first base and Lord knows how long. And there was a ground ball to him and he, stopped it and he went to underhand it to the pitcher covering first base and he sailed it over his head by like 8 feet. I mean, he made a fool out of himself, right? That's really, really embarrassing. And you could tell like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Total nerves, right? The toss was only about 10 feet. And then he got another ground ball, right? Where, he's roaming over like a monkey hump on a football trying to get to it, catches it, and then throws it, to the same kind of play, right? Feeds the pitcher and then puts his arms in the air like they just won the World Series. Like to have a guy with that kind of like attitude and personality on a team, that's got to be great for a clubhouse. It's got to be great for the team and the people around him. Because that was a big stage. I mean, this was in the playoffs, and for him to just kind of relax and just be like, okay, I look like a fool, but you know what? I got another shot. And that's what baseball's all about, right? That's what, every pitch, stay in the moment. Now, he wasn't dwelling on that. Oh my gosh, I hope they don't hit another one. I hope I don't make another error. Like he wasn't doing that. He was just in the moment, looking for that next ground ball to redeem himself. He got it. He did it. And then boom, monkey was off the bat. So
it's like in Moneyball. It's like in Moneyball when the big heavy set guy tripped going around first base when he hit a home run towards the end of the movie. And Billy Beane says, how can you not be romantic about baseball? Right? I mean, yeah. Be sure to, well, you guys probably already like to subscribe at this point, right? So I don't have to remind you of that. Tell your friends, yes, and tell your friends about our YouTube page, Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast, and follow us on social media at Jim Tara, at Epstein Hitting on both Twitter and Instagram. Email us your questions, jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. Scott emailed us earlier in the week, but JJ came in last second, his first email of 2022, and the email was right on point with who we're talking about today. So Scott from Newark, New Jersey, if you're listening, I hope you are. I would assume you would be because you want your question to be answered by us. We will get to your question. I promise. And it's a great one. We'll get to it next week. Hang in there.
It is a good one. We talked about it.
Yeah. We have to get to JJ's question because it relates to Kyle
Schwarber.
Unfortunately,
JJ, looked at the top. He knew who we were talking about today.
Right. He didn't get thrown off by our off week last week.
That's right.
All right. So JJ, this comes to us from JJ via jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. Jim and Jake, hope I made the cutoff for Monday's podcast. Kyle Schwarber is a high ball hitter because he doesn't get into his legs enough. Would that be correct? Short, sweet, right to the point. That's from JJ.
Another one
via.
I don't know if I would say he doesn't get into his legs enough. I think he was a low ball hitter. I think he's made the adjustment the past year to be a really good high ball hitter, just based on his approach.
Yeah.
And I think that's why his contact rate's coming up a little bit. I think to hit a pitch up, you're going to stand up a little bit more. And to hit a pitch down, you're going to have to sink into your legs to get it. Soto, right, gets really, really low. And that allows him to control his vertical bat angle a little bit more on low pitches, because he gets so low with his body. He doesn't have to drop his barrel below his hands quite as much, which will help with his backspin. Schwarber is, a little bit more upright for sure. That definitely helps him get to high pitches. Does it help him? Does it hurt him on low pitches? Maybe a little bit, but he's not a super tall guy. When you get really tall, that's where you really have to get into your legs. You really got to get down there to get to low pitches. Otherwise, you got to use your arms quite a bit. So, or your barrel quite a bit. Think of somebody like Judge, right? He gets into his legs, but he's not like a really wide, low guy like a Soto or a Pujols, somebody like that, or Max Muncy, somebody that's really wide and low.
Yeah.
So he drops his barrel more typically, in order to get to that. So, yeah, I mean, I think Schwarber handles the high pitch about as good as any left-handed hitter that I've seen, left-handed power hitter that I've seen. Is he a right-handed thrower? He's a right-handed thrower too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder if that helps him, because we talk about, Seager, Kyle Seager, or
Corey
Seager.
Yeah.
Right. Kyle just retired. Corey Seager, is a decent high ball hitter. He's a right-handed thrower. He uses that lead arm more, and that really helps. I just had Marcus Brown, who's an infielder at Oklahoma State, and he got pretty good time last year. He's a sophomore this year, really good player. I think he may have been MVP of his summer league this year. He played in the Appalachian Summer League or whatever. Anyway, just a solid player. I've known him for a really long time. He was an online academy guy from Arkansas, dating back to like 2015 or something, 16. So, he plays for a wonderful staff, right? He plays for Robin Ventura. He plays for Josh Holliday. He plays for Matt Holliday.
Yeah. I forgot Robin Ventura was over there.
Yeah. They have a incredible experience. And Ventura was a left-handed hitter. That was a right-handed throw, and he's really helped him out, flatten off. And so Marcus really uses his lead arm well, and his barrel stays up. He's not a big guy. He's 100, he's a shortstop, second baseman. He's 185 pounds. Yeah. And, he controls his barrel to hit high pitches so well. And I do think it's much easier for bottom hand dominant players to hit high pitches, because the more you pull with that lead arm, the more you use your lead arm, typically the longer the barrel stays up. If you just turn and keep your top hand back there and you don't use your lead arm to pull forward, a lot of times you'll lose the barrel a little bit early. So I think Schwarber definitely has some of that. And he's strong, right? Mm-hmm. So he's strong. He's bottom hand dominant. Typically, you'll be able to control the barrel pretty well.
So are you touting then, if you're right-handed, that you should become a left-handed batter?
Mm-hmm. No, because I think that it does probably limit not for all people, but it, you won't have as much power because your dominant side is your front side. Yeah. You have to be somewhat ambidextrous and be able to use your non-dominant side, use your top hand, your left hand, but it's just kind of a different move. If you're big and strong, I think it's definitely an advantage, but some people can do it and some people can't. So, you can't just make somebody hit left-handed. Like, you can try it. Yeah. Young, I did that with my daughter. We started playing golf when she was like 4 or 5, just for fun, because we could hit these little foam balls out in front of the house. Mm-hmm. And she kind of learned how to swing left-handed. She's like, I think I'm left. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, she wasn't very good at it, but she did it. And then when she started to play softball, all of a sudden she started to do it left-handed. And then I'm like, you know what? I think you should play golf right-handed. And then she started to swing right-handed golf. So now she can't really hit a softball right-handed very well. Okay, right. She plays left-handed. She's more comfortable because that's how we started. So I always tell players, when you got young kids, just let them do what they want to do. Let them swing from both sides, and you'll figure it out. It might take you till they're 8, or so, but let them figure it out. You'll find the stronger side.
Let me ask you this before we get to the Schwarber swing breakdown. Trying to get my laptop back up here and going. Let me ask you this about Schwarber. What kind of hitter is he? And I know on the surface, on paper,
hitter, Jim.
On the surface, you know what? I'm done. This show's over. Goodbye. Talk to you next week. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
On the surface, his numbers say he's a power hitter.
Yeah.
But I wonder, with his walk percentage last year, if that would taper off that argument a bit. If he's maybe not, I'm not saying he's a contact hitter. I'm not ready to say he's a gap to gap hitter, but I'm also not 100% certain, about 75, 76, 78% certain. 75 can go fuck itself. I'm about 78% certain that he is. I hope there's no kids in your room, by the way. Dropping F-bombs.
No, but maybe listening.
That's okay. You know what? They're exposed to enough on TikTok anyway. It's either this or TikTok. Is he? I'm 78% certain he's a power hitter, but I'm not so sure with some of the numbers and where they're trending.
I would categorize him a power hitter because at any moment he could hit a ball over the fence.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he could hit a double. Like, he's going to hit the ball hard. I think you're right. I think he hits balls to left field and he hits balls to right field. So I think he's can kind of go line to line just about, you know, definitely left field to the right field line with power. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know, with the walk, you know, but a lot of power hitters walk too, right? Like Babe Ruth walked a lot and Reggie Jackson.
I think Aaron Judge walks
a lot. So it would, you know, I typically do it by, I categorize players right or wrong. Like, that's just me. The way I do it is their kind of their launch angle, you know, their swing plane and their launch angle tendencies, you know, and their miss, is their miss lower or is their miss higher? You know, does their swing barrel drop a little bit deeper in the zone? They're going to get to and they don't flip their wrist, they're going to get to the bottom of the ball. I would say they're going to be more of a power hitter. So I wouldn't say he's a pure power hitter. He's not a 40 to 50 home run guy. You know, he's not that. You know, he's not Alonso, you know, right now. But he's definitely in that mold.
Where do you bat him in the order? I know it depends on the order and there's not enough context there, but where would you bat him?
Order. You know, I might bat him second or fifth.
Okay, why second?
I don't know. He's left-handed. I think he can do a lot. Like, he's going to hit the ball hard. You know, he's going to hit doubles. And the fact that he can use the whole field, I think is beneficial for the shifts in that position. But, you know, I'm not the one making out the lineups. I'm sure there's a lot of analytical people that have the right answer for that.
Right.
You know, based on numbers and whatnot. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm
okay.
saying, like,
said that with a scowl.
I don't have enough research to make out the lineup cards.
All right, fair enough. I agree with you, by the way. If that's any consolation.
Thanks.
I know it's probably no consolation whatsoever, but all right, let's get to Kyle Schwarber's swing here. We're doing something a little bit different today for those watching on the YouTube side, listening as well. We kind of put together, or Ep did, put together a highlight package of Kyle Schwarber, about 3.5 minutes of different types of pitches and what Ep is going to do. Instead of just breaking the swing down, he's going to, correct me if I'm wrong here. You're going to break down. Okay. Let me. No,
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say that. I
know.
You're exactly right. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, so I'm right. Well, if I can't be right and wrong, so I'm either right.
You're right about this, Jim.
All right. Yeah. So that's what we're doing today, pretty much. I hope it was deciphered and explained well. And the pitches are in different zones, so we're going to see different swings in different zones. It's a great idea. I'm really excited for it. So let's get rolling.
Let's rock and roll. Yeah, no, I think this is a kind of a cool way to look at Schwarber and how he gets to different pitches. So as I play this video through, we'll kind of play it full speed and then we'll play it, you know, in slow motion as well. But, you know, we look at this first pitch, right? It was 85 miles an hour on the outer part of the plate, sinking away from him. I'm going to go back a little bit to look at that swing. Okay. But, you know, he stays on this pitch. You know, and is he diving a little bit? If we look at his front foot here, again, Jim, I'm at like the one, you know, I'm on the first one, 0.94 seconds in. And you can see his front foot is actually closer to the white line than his back foot. Okay, so if we look right in here, so he's looking away. He's definitely cheating away. Look how closed he is at toe touch. Look at his front hip is really closed. His front shoulder is really closed. His hands are back. And then as he gets to this pitch that's tailing away from him, pretty good vertical bat angle. Like I would say it's probably in the 20s. I mean, I don't really know how the best way. I don't know if there is a proper way with this program to do it, but let's see. If I go here with his hands and I go, maybe 90 degrees there. So he's at 64. So that's like 26 degrees. I mean, that's just perfect. Right at the thighs. He's in the 20s. He's going to be able to hit this ball to the opposite field.
Yeah.
But he's also not going to slice it too much. What I like about it is after contact, his barrel is pretty much on that same line. Okay. So, some of this is strength, but if I draw that line there and he finishes, look how his barrel's still almost on that same exact plate. Okay. That's how you stay through balls. That's how we make sure we don't slice them or pop them up much to the opposite field. But anyway, a really good. So if we play this full motion again, okay, we'll go through, we'll see hits at the left center. Definitely had backspin. It stayed in the air for a long time. Okay. So we'll go through here. There's a little slow motion shot of it. Again, we saw it. So then we look at the next pitch. So Jim, we're about at the 15-second mark now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there.
Okay. And we have a high pitch here. Okay. So let's see what his stride looks like. Let's see if he's cheating on this. I don't know if this is the same day. It might be. The fans look different, but he's still playing the Mets. So here's toe touch. He's a little more square here. He didn't close off as much with his stride. You can see his front hip start to open, but look at where this pitch is. This is not a strike, right? I mean, JJ talked about this. Is he a high ball hitter because he doesn't, get really crouched? I don't know. I think he's a high ball hitter because he looks for it. And then you look at this bat vertical angle. I mean, that's probably like 10 degrees. I mean, you know how difficult it is to be at 10 degrees? Like, that's unbelievable. It's the only way to hit that pitch. And then as he hits it, right, he pulls that thing to right center field, okay? And what's cool about this is you don't see his barrel get too far below the ball back here. So if we look kind of back in here, if we go a frame early, you can see his barrel is like right at the catcher's mitt. And then when he releases the barrel, it's definitely coming up, which is fine. He's not swinging down to stay on top of this ball, but he's definitely not dropping his barrel. He's controlling his barrel really, really well as he hits this. So does this one give us a velocity? 94. Okay, so he hit 85. It was a changeup the opposite way he stayed on. Then he gets 94 up here. Let's just think to ourselves, maybe this was the same game. And he hits a changeup middle away. As a hitter, are you going to look for another changeup? Okay, probably not. They're probably going to go 180 degrees from that and go with a fastball up. Well, here's a guy that may have had the right approach. And he jumps all over it and absolutely smokes this thing.
I think it was the same game, by the way.
What's that?
I think it was the same game, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
just to add to your point.
Yeah, that's not even a strike. Like, who swings at that pitch? A guy that's looking up there. A guy that maybe has the wherewithal to know that I'm going to look up here. I'm going to stay in that tunnel, right? So let's go to, now we're at like the 29-second mark, Jim. Okay, so I don't know. They're still playing the Mets. Now he's getting a huge, sinking fastball, running fastball. I don't think it's a changeup. Let's see if they give us so 92 away. It's on the outer, it's like ball 6 on the outside part of the plate. I mean, is he cheating that way? Look at his stride. Now his stride foot, his toes are a little bit closer to he's not square. He dived in a little bit. Okay, front shoulders down. I mean, he's got to really extend out the other way. You can see he's definitely in his legs here more. Look at his front thigh, right? He's got more flexion in his legs to get down to this pitch. Is he trying to do that? I don't know, but he did it. And then look at his extension point. After contact, he extends through this ball to left center field. Okay. If you look at his power V, it's like right back towards the shortstop. Okay. To the left side of the infield there. That's how you stay on pitches running away. Okay. Was he cheating out there? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he's that good, but he definitely had a plan as he went.
And there's a good side view replay of that swing too.
Okay. So we'll go over. So we've seen a changeup, thigh high on the outer part of the plate. We saw 94 at the letters. I'm sorry. Yeah, 94 at the letters out of the strike zone that he was able to hit out of the park. And then we see a 94-mile-an-hour tailing fastball middle away that he's able to hit through to the opposite field. So if you look at that power V position, it's really well. And yeah, you know, going back to JJ, he's not a big lower half guy. Okay. He isn't. Not everybody has to be a big lower half guy. When you're strong, you don't have to be a big lower half guy.
Yeah.
you have to find barrels, you know, and it's not that his lower half isn't working right, but it's, you know, he's not maximizing, not on that swing, low and away. Okay. Okay. So then we got another one here. Hold on. I went too far. Now I'm at the four. This is so great. Now he destroyed the Mets. Good Lord. So now we're at the 45, almost 46 second mark here. Another high fastball. I think this is the same pitcher. Okay, this is 94, again, above the zone. And he's able to stay on top of this one again, or he's able to get to it. I wouldn't say he's necessarily staying on top of it and chopping down on it, but I mean, and then look at his vertical bat angle, right? It's just tremendous. His barrel, it gets slightly below the ball, maybe right before contact, which is what it's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But again, he's making adjustments. Where's his stride foot on this? So this one's closed off a little bit more. Okay, he may have been looking away, may have been focusing away, but then he clears his hips just fine. He has no problem clearing his hips and gets to that pitch up. So I'm going to let this thing run through. You know, that was just an absolute bullet to right field. So I just love the fact that he's getting to all of these pitches. I'm just letting it run now, Jim. I'm at like the 60-second mark. Okay. Fast, slow, in, out. Here's the Mets again.
Yeah.
I think the Mets should sign him.
This one was 97 down the middle, by the way. The swing worked this swing at the 1 minute mark.
Okay, I lost the 1 minute mark already.
Yeah, I think this is the day he hit 3 home runs.
Yeah. Yeah, so this pitch somewhat away, right? Not that far away. I mean, that's center cut, right? 97 center cut. Guess who didn't miss it? The guy that's hot. Okay, why are you throwing a guy that's hot? You know, why are you throwing a guy that's hot that many fastballs, right? Or that many, I shouldn't even say fastballs, that many strikes, okay? And then he absolutely smokes this. So probably one of my favorite moves that he has, if I zoom in here at the 62-second mark, Jim, at point of contact, you know, his barrel is on an angle like this, maybe, you know, 30 something degrees. And then right after contact, it's on a very, very similar angle there. Okay. I mean, it's flipped up a little bit, but as he extends, he keeps that barrel really flat through the bottom half of the ball. Okay. A lot of players will get here at contact. And then in the next frame, like if you're looking at your own players, this is a good thing to look at, then right after contact, their barrel would be up here like this. Okay. So their vertical bat angle would go from, say, maybe negative 35. And then right after contact, it would go to negative 20 because they're flipping over. And that's a really bad move. Okay. That's usually a correction move that will lead to a lot of pull side, you know, top spin. Okay. And it'll lead a lot to, you know, weak fly balls the other way. So again, going through here, I'm just going to let this play out. Otherwise, he's
got really good bat quickness and bat speed, by the way.
He's so quick, right?
I don't know. Another thing I missed on him.
Yeah. Does he have short arms? You know, is he got a long torso, short arms, but he looks so compact. Mm-hmm. Like he can wait forever. And then at the last second, he can still rotate through and extend through. I mean, these balls that he just peppers to left field, it's almost like the parks aren't big enough for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a hanging curveball. We're at the 93-second mark, you know, a hanging breaking pitch. So he's covering everything. This is what I love. Here's another breaking pitch, 80 miles an hour. He pulls. He's still on plane with. So the fact that he hits fast and slow, he's hitting up and down, he's getting to in and out. To me, he's anticipating correctly. To me, he has a really good plan. And to me, most importantly, he's sticking to his plan. Okay, so there's 95 there. You know, he's just getting to, now I'm at the 2 minute mark, 125. And to me, that's a hitter. That's not a one-dimensional hitter. Now, he's not always going to be locked in like he was in the second half of the season this year. But for him to have the ability to trust what he feels he's going to get, mm-hmm. and then to execute it, not to miss it, to me, that's the sign of a good hitter. That's somebody that doesn't have to have the greatest vision. He doesn't have to have the greatest talent, which we see, right? Like he has good talent, but he's not a freakishly athletic outfielder, right? Or a shortstop. You know, he's a hitter. That's what he is. And I remember my dad saying, you know, the only reason I was able to compete at the major league level because he couldn't see. You know, here's another pitch up, right? He gets to, but my dad had like pretty much the worst vision of any major league player. Dr. Bill Harrison told him that after testing, you know, tens of thousands of minor leaguers, major league players over, you know, like 30 years. Mm-hmm. He told my dad, he's like, I don't think I've seen anybody with vision as bad as you. Yeah. But my dad would have been nothing if it wasn't for Ted Williams teaching him the mental side of hitting and how to anticipate pitches and use your previous at bat and what a pitcher's trying to do. That part of it, I think Schwarber is gaining, and I think it's going to get better and better as he continues to age. And I think that's why he's doing so well right now. I think that's why he's in a very good spot. So just recapping these videos, this last one we looked at, you know, I'm just going to rewind that. I'm at like the 200 second mark. Sorry, I don't know where that is, but guess what? I think they're playing the Mets again.
They are.
And he hits a breaking ball to right center field. He doesn't top it. He hits an 83-mile-an-hour breaking ball to the pull side with some elevation. And it just tells me that he has the ability to get to pitches all over the strike zone with different speeds. And to me, that's a sign of a really good hitter. You know, that's the sign of, you know, we've talked about Stanton before sometimes, right? And how great he is. But sometimes like those sliders really get him. You know, he doesn't have the ability to either, you know, trust that slider or just sit on that slider as long as possible, you know, where it's like he sees it and it's fastball, you know, and then he can't make that adjustment. I feel like Schwarber, you know, at least what he's demonstrated here in this highlight video, he can decipher those. Like he doesn't stray. When he has less than 2 strikes, he sticks to his plan until he gets his pitch. And he's going to go into really hot streaks when that happens, but he's also not going to go into huge slumps, I don't think.
All right, so that wraps up our mechanical breakdown series. A little bit of a different twist on it this week, seeing a bunch of swings from Kyle Schwarber. You know what I like too, which I now notice, the finish fundamentally is the same, but the overall finish of the swing seems to always be different. You ever notice that? Like the one ball he hit against the Mets, the fastball up and in where he hit it like 500 feet.
Yeah.
The swing,
he cut it off.
Yeah.
Like Utley.
Yeah.
A little Utley to it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. But then on the home runs that he hit to the opposite field, I'm just looking at the lower half. The lower half wasn't the same. It was a little bit more, it was different. It was, I don't know. I guess I don't want to say.
To me, he looks like to me he looks like a hitter. He looks like kind of an old school guy that hits, you know, that hits it. Oh, I'm going to hit it the other way. He's not like, oh, I have to let it travel. I have to make sure this is here and that's here. He just like, hey, let's work on balls the other way, and then he just finds barrels and hits them the other way. You know, almost like Bubba Watson, you know, as a golfer, right? Self-taught, just I'm going to make the ball do this. I'm going to make the ball do this, and I'm going to hit it like this, and then his body conforms to that.
Yeah,
I kind of feel that's how Schwarber is. Like he's not a big mechanically, like he doesn't get in his own head mechanically, where he might just be like, I'm going to stay on top of this, or I'm going to try to get underneath this, or I'm going to hit this the other way. Not, okay, in order to hit the ball the other way, I need to get my knob here. And sometimes that happens, right? Like you know, especially somebody like me who's seen so many swings and has so much experience on making players do so. Hey, we want to get on top of this pitch. Here's the process to get on top of this pitch. You have to do this with this hand and this with this hand and blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes that can create confusion. And so a good instructor has to figure out, does that player want to know why and how, or does he just want to do it? Okay, let's get on top of this pitch. What are you going to do? Swing down more on this pitch. Okay. Not, hey, pull the knob down more to swing down more, you know, to keep the barrel up more to swing, just swing down more. And so every player, you have to find their process, you know, what works for them. What's the thought process for them? Some people want more information. And some people don't want any information. They just want to see the ball go, and they want to see the result and say, okay, that's the feel. Maybe you show them on video. Don't really talk about mechanics, but hey, this is what your body did on that pitch. Oh, okay. Well, to me, it felt like I was more upright or I was more down. Okay. Now we can kind of use that. Let's write that down in our journal and you know, on what you're feeling, right? Because everybody feels something different depending on what they're working on. That's what makes hitting unique.
Final question of the show. Predict for me Schwarber's next contract.
How old is he?
Mets should just sign him, like you said, though. He killed the Mets.
The Mets should totally just sign him. Right?
He is.
He belongs in, or he just needs to stay in the NL East.
Yeah.
Maybe either one of those.
He's 28.
What's that?
28 years old.
He's only 28.
Wow.
Yeah, I might give him 6 years, 150.
Wow.
That's
Would
big.
you rather sign him or Chris Bryant?
Chris Bryant.
Oh, okay. All right. But he's like your backup plan.
Yeah, I'd rather sign Chris Bryant because he's
better defensively, right?
Well, yeah, he's better, more flexibility on defense. So you play third base, right? Not just first as he ages. But yeah, I think Schwarber might get in that $20 to $25 million range. 4 years, 4 to 6.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not bad for a guy. Wrong. Not bad for a guy who signed for just a 1-year deal last offseason.
Kind of like your boy Simeon.
I know. I was right about
Would you rather have Simeon or Schwarber?
Simeon.
Does he have the track record, though?
Who, Simeon?
Yeah, I don't remember.
He's a better athlete.
Simeon had a great year last year.
I'm not saying I don't want Schwarber, but I'm saying I'd rather have Simeon.
Yeah.
They're two different players, though.
Totally different players.
Simeon's not a
Schwarber's going to help.
Simeon's not a power guy, despite his home runs.
Yeah, in the DH role, too. It's like if you can get him to a spot where he can play left, but then he can also DH, that's going to be a win-win.
Simeon can play 4 different positions if I need him to. Third, short, second, maybe even left field. Schwarber can play 1 position and DH.
Yeah.
So they're 2 different players to me.
Yeah, agreed. But, it's going to be who's got money to spend.
Yeah.
You know, for a little bit more offense.
All right. Well, next week, that wraps up our mechanical breakdown series of Kyle Schwarber, volume 22. Next week, volume 23, Chris Taylor, who's already signed with the Dodgers, re-signed with the Dodgers. So he's gone off the board, but he was a free agent. We're going to break down his swing next week. Now, would you rather have Schwarber or Taylor? Those are 2 different players, too.
Yeah, that one might come down to money.
Yeah, that's right. So Chris Taylor next week, and then Nick Castellanos for right
That'll
field.
Be a good one.
That'll be.
I haven't really looked at a lot of Castellanos.
Yeah,
so that'll be cool for me too.
Off season's flying by. We still don't have a new CBA, so who knows? Hopefully, we have a spring training. I don't know. Will we? Who knows? It's like the old Batman previews. Next episode. Find out next time. Next week on the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast. So that's next week. Chris Taylor, any questions, email us jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. Great job today. Do you have anything else before we? Oh, you do. You have the Lab. What's going on there? What's going on with the Epstein Online Hitting Academy?
Oh man, the Lab's ramping up. It's this is go time in Texas, baby, getting ready for the spring season. So yeah, that place is pumping as it normally does down there with great players and committed players. And then the online stuff, obviously I have a lot of work to do today. A lot of those players sent in videos here over the last week. So I promise I'll get to you. I know I've been traveling and was in Texas, so I'm a couple days behind, but I'll get to those. Yeah, the online academy, make sure you're sharp. I'm telling you, that is the best investment you can make because you get eyes on not only your practice time and what you need to focus on with your practice time and drills, but most importantly, when the season starts rolling around, we can talk through at bats and we can talk through approach and we can make sure your timing is correct. That's most importantly, once the old March rolls around, make sure we're getting going on time and getting our foot down on time so that we're not cheating our swing. So yeah, feel free to visit us, EpsteinOnlineAcademy.com.
All righty.
Plug done.
Plug done. Everything else good? Good to go? Sign off this week?
Yeah, everything's good.
All right.
Everything's good. Back's a little sore from the travel delays, though, on the airplane. So
oh, we got to do
once the back's better, I'll be good to go.
Do some stretching. I can show you some stretching.
A lot of stretching. Yeah.
Help you out with that. Some mobility work. All right. Thank you for listening, watching, everybody on the YouTube side. Be sure to subscribe. Tell your friends. We do appreciate it. And we will talk to you next week.